Chief Williams is in the studio right now. Good morning, Chief.
Good morning, Bill.
Right off the bat, one of the things that has happened...
What about Mr. Coromano?
And good morning. Yeah, sorry. Well, it's not often we get the Chief. We get you when we need you, and you're always there, and we appreciate that. All right, Chief. So right off the bat, and I know you made this clear to Jeff, but I think the audience deserves to hear it as well. And that is, we're finding that instead of getting the mayor, he's sending out department heads, he's sending out people to speak on his behalf. You're saying that is not what you're doing here, A, and B, this is not political. You want to put that in your own words?
Yes, I spoke to Jeff last night. I make it clear that I'm coming to speak on my department's behalf, not on the mayor's behalf.
Okay. All right. So there have been a lot of shootings, a lot of things going on. Things were pretty quiet for a while, and it isn't now. So talk about what's happening in the city and the department.
We saw a decrease in a lot of our violent crime between 2013 right up to 2018. And then this year in May, we saw a dramatic increase in the amount of shootings. We saw 9 in the month of May, and already in June we've seen 4.
Yeah.
And
not to mention an armed bank robbery as well.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what causes that, and what do we do?
Right now,
nearby Syracuse, has gone through a couple of really rough years.
Oh, yeah.
Is this just the luck of the draw? What's going on?
It's hard to say. I think that some of the concerns we know we're dealing with is basically 2 rival gangs right now are taking shots at each other. Unfortunately, there are some innocent people that are getting hit when this occurs. So we have identified the players that are involved. We are targeting those individuals, and we are making cases when we can. One of the biggest problems we have is the lack of cooperation from the person that actually gets shot. He's likely not going to cooperate. It's not out of fear. It's because he wants his own street justice, and because he likely could have been responsible for a shooting that he did prior to that.
Okay.
And this could be retaliatory. So
and getting somebody to talk becomes very difficult.
It is. So what we're doing is we don't stop just there. We got a grant from the state. It's called the non-fatal shooting grant. And basically what it is that in the past, when we used to have these non-fatal shootings, we'd give it to an investigator in general assignment, and he would have that case, which is very difficult to solve, on top of a bunch of other cases.
All right.
With this non-fatal shooting grant, it allowed us to get increase the police complement 1 position, and we have a full-time dedicated investigator that doesn't take no for an answer. He keeps on going back to the victim, trying to gain their trust and their cooperation. And on top of that, if they don't get cooperation from the victim, then they reach out to the parents.
Okay.
If not the parents, a grandparent. But we don't go away, and we've seen some success with the program. We used to average about a 9% clearance rate, it's an arrest, up to 36%.
And when you say going to the parents, we're dealing with young kids here, right? How old are these kids?
Sometimes it's kids having kids.
Right.
And they're coming from dysfunctional families, and there's not a lot of parental support.
So how do you fix it? And does it mean more money to more officers on the street? Does it mean more money to the police department? How do you fix these problems?
We could certainly use more officers on the street. Right now, we're doing it with overtime that's supplemented by grants that we currently have to do different gun initiatives. So right now, the key for us right now is to try to make arrests in these cases, take these dangerous people off the street. At the same time, make sure we have a large, visible presence out in the street to deter a lot of these crimes.
All right. And without getting political, because I do, it's very easy right now. The next 2 weeks are going to be pretty intense. Yeah. Actually, the next week and a half, pretty intense. But I'm not going to ask you. I should be asking you about public safety commissioners. Should the mayor be public? But you've already told us you're not going to answer those questions.
Well, I could give you my personal feeling on public safety commissioner. During my 32-year career, I've worked with roughly about 5 different public safety commissioners. The ones they tend to bring back, from my experience, as someone who's been retired, it's kind of out of touch what's going on. And regardless of any public safety commissioner that comes back, the chief is always going to run his department.
Right.
The one time I saw where they tried to take the control away from a chief was back when Benny Rotundo and they had Alfred Bruni as a public safety commissioner.
They've been very unsuccessful
and
at that
what
time.
ended up happening was 9 months later they fired the public safety commissioner, and then the mayor had to make amends with the police chief. So we run our departments basically, whether it's the fire or police. So I mean, if the candidate, Joe Marino feels he needs a public safety commissioner, that's fine. We'll work. If should he get elected, we'll work with that person. But I don't see much value in it.
Okay. Yeah. I want to ask you, right now there is a group out there that is explaining how dangerous it's going to be if the hospital moves downtown, how dangerous downtown is. A lot of what you're talking about here today is not just what is being said in the political arena, but what's being said in this arena when it comes to the hospital. And I think there are people nervous. There are nurses who are nervous about downtown. Talk about that area of downtown and what your anticipation is. They're claiming that things are going to become very, very dangerous around the hospital.
My only concern is basically going to be traffic. It has nothing to do with crime. If you look at the crime stats, ever since we used to have the problems on Washington Courts and Gobass, and that had been torn down, that population has been displaced and gone elsewhere. And that area around the police department is relatively safe when it comes to crime. It's one of our lowest crime rates that we have. What I worry about is going to be the traffic. Can we handle the traffic? What's that mean for the police department? Are we going to need more officers to address that? How's it going to affect us being able to get in and out of our building? You know?
That's funny you bring that up because a year and a half ago I questioned you, and we started this whole Hornets, opened up the whatever the phrase. What's the Hornet's Nest phrase?
I don't know. Kicked, stumbled on.
We might have done that.
Punted the Hornet's Nest.
And it was about a new police station. Is there going to be a new police station with the new hospital? Now I'm getting word that there have actually been talks with a firm that is working, maybe an architect that's working on possible plans.
That's correct.
That is correct. Tell us what's happening and what all this means here.
There's two options. One, we could potentially stay there, but if we stay there, they're going to have to come up with replacement parking for not only our police vehicles, but for our employees. And it should be relatively safe parking, so that hasn't been hammered out yet. The other issue is what's going to happen to the maintenance facility. Are they going to, there's talks about potentially doing a consolidated maintenance facility. So there's talks about that, and we have to be prepared if the city and our local elected officials in the future aren't willing to bond for that, or a new police station, we're likely going to be staying there. But the other alternative we are looking at is possible lands. So we've been working with an architecture firm. They sat down with myself, our command staff, asked what our projected needs would be, what our projected growth in the future might be.
Yeah.
And they basically projected a building that would need 65,000 square feet. Potential sites we looked at would be down by Whitesboro Street, down by Erie Street was another one. The other one that really comes to mind is along York Street. It's a state-owned land next to Pinefield, and that's about 11 acres. That would probably, in my opinion, be the most ideal place to build. But again, they have to get that from the state.
Have you had any dealings with the no hospital or no police station on Whitesboro Street group? And do you anticipate there will be such a group?
We have word that there's a Twitter handle already forming. Breaking news.
Because nothing seems to be able to get done around here without someone protesting it and complaining about it. So, so the rumors are real at this point.
Yes.
All right. And at the very least, you're saying you're preparing just in case you were told that you're going to have to move.
They're looking at the feasibility of possibly moving and building a police department, but also be prepared that we may have to stay.
That you might have to stay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anything else you
I do have two things. I think we only have time for one. Yep. We only have like 30 seconds. You just picked up Armadillo 2, was that right? Or can you talk about that?
No, we didn't. We have a armored vehicle we picked up for our SWAT team.
Okay. I thought when you said armored vehicle, I just assumed Armadillo. Okay.
Never
mind.
Right. Chief and Lieutenant Cormano, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate it, and this went non-politically. It's refreshing. Very refreshing. So, all right. Thanks so much, guys.